What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video, and I'm not sure if you can really tell, but I busted my lip playing basketball, and it kind of hurts, and it's really kind of impairing the way I can move my mouth like I usually do. Just ignore that. You know, that's not really important right now. Today, we are talking about the AFC South. Who will come out on top of the AFC South? There are some competitors in that division, and there is also some shitbags in that division, to say the least. The southern part of the AFC features two teams that could potentially be fighting for a spot in the Super Bowl, and two teams that could potentially be once again fighting for the #1 overall pick. How will all of these teams manage? We're about to find out. But before we get into all of that, you guys know the drill. Mott's applesauce is the vibe of today. You know you can never go wrong with your Mott's applesauce. If you're ever hungry, if you're ever thirsty, Mott's applesauce will satisfy both of those problems for you, and I promise you, it can never fail you. All right, so let's get right into it. I'm going to scooch right on over so I can fit the schedules up beside my head. So let's start at the bottom of the barrel with the Houston Texans. I don't think this can be debated in any way, shape, or form. I think the Houston Texans not only have a true chance of being the worst team in their division, but the worst team in the NFL. With next to no prior draft capital, an extremely old roster, and a franchise quarterback that's not only in hot water, but a franchise quarterback that doesn't even want to play for them, they are not looking too good top to bottom whatsoever. As I went through their schedule, I don't think I saw a single game that I thought they actually could win. The only week that I thought they might have a chance in is against the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 1, because that will be Trevor Lawrence's first NFL game. We'll see how he reacts to that. But even then, I don't think the Houston Texans stand a chance. This is going to be an awfully miserable season for the Houston Texans and their fans, and I truly think there's a chance that they can go 0-17 in the 2021 season. I don't think there's a game that they truly have a chance in. Maybe I'll be wrong, but they'll at most have one win. So 0-17 is my prediction. That might be a little harsh, but it's always fun to laugh at disorganized franchises because the Buffalo Bills were an awful franchise for a very long time. So I like to laugh when I get the chance. Let's move on. Coming in second last of the AFC South, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sure that's not much of a surprise to you, but nevertheless, the Jacksonville Jaguars might be relatively competitive at some points in the season, but I do think they're going to struggle overall. The Jags are debuting two Clemson rookies on their offense this season in Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, obviously, but I do not have faith in their defense to be any sort of decent, and I think that's going to be the anchor that holds them down for the majority of the season. Not to mention that I also have next to zero faith in Urban Meyer to be a good NFL head coach. For some reason, it seems like that these college coaches think they're going to come up into the NFL and use the same shit that they used in college in the NFL. It just does not work like that. It's a completely different world in the NFL in comparison to college, and it seems like a lot of these college coaches just don't get that memo. So I fully expect Urban Meyer to try and pull some bullshit with the Jacksonville Jaguars this season. I mean, he kind of already has by drafting Travis Etienne at 25th overall, and then coming out to the media to say that he thinks he could be a good wide receiver, even though Travis Etienne is clearly a running back. Like, this guy hasn't even coached an NFL game yet, and he's already making himself look like an absolute moron, as well as bringing on Tim Tebow to be a tight end. I'm not sure if he had anything to do with that decision, but he's the head coach at the end of the day. I'm going to give him that responsibility. So unless Urban Meyer proves me wrong and their defense comes out to be somewhat decent this year, I don't expect the Jaguars to have a promising season in the slightest. Two of their wins coming against their fellow divisional rivals being the Houston Texans, and for some reason I think they're going to squeak out the game against the Falcons. I don't have a true reason why. My only explanation for that would be I just don't think the Falcons know what's really going on right now. They traded Julio Jones away, yet they're not really rebuilding because they're keeping Matt Ryan. I don't really know what they're doing, and I'm kind of confused, and I don't think they really know what they're doing either. So with that being said, I do think the Jaguars are going to squeak out that win against the Falcons, but other than that, I think it's going to be a relatively underwhelming season, but I do think Trevor Lawrence is going to show that he is NFL ready, and he is the future of the Jaguars organization. Now, this is where I fully expect the competition in this division to really pick up. I predict the Tennessee Titans to finish second in the AFC South. Yes, trust me, I understand that they acquired Julio Jones in the offseason, but you cannot forget that they are a run-first team almost 80% of the time. Also, last I checked, Julio Jones does not play on the defensive side of the ball. Unless their defense really starts to pick it up out of nowhere, I don't expect them to be any better than they were last year. They did make a few offseason acquisitions such as Bud Dupree, but I still don't think it's going to change the fact that they're going to get opened up wider than a bag of chips in a middle school cafeteria. At the halfway point of the season, they reach a pretty rough stretch in which I predict them to drop 5 straight games. I think after that 5-game losing streak, they're going to figure out their kinks, they're going to get their confidence back, and they're going to head into the postseason on a 7-game win streak. So maybe going into the postseason on a 7-game tear will bode well for their playoff hopes, but I still don't think they're going to get any farther than maybe the divisional round at most. So unless their defense really starts to figure it out, I don't think they're going to have that much different of a season that they did in the last couple of years. With that being said, I expect them to finish 11-6, second in the AFC South. 3 teams down, that means only one can remain, and that would be the Indianapolis Colts. I do think they're going to be the kings of the AFC South in the 2021 season. Aside from Kansas City, the Indianapolis Colts are the team in the AFC that I fear the most as a Bills fan, because they almost knocked us off in the wild card round last year, and I fully expect them to be at least as good as they were last year, if not even better. The Colts are in the conversation of one of the most well-rounded teams in the NFL. They are good in every aspect of the game. They're good at coaching, they're good at special teams, they're fantastic on defense, they're fantastic on offense, they can pass and run the ball. This team can do it all. Assuming Carson Wentz bounces back from what he used to be in Philadelphia, I do think the Colts are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC. I think that defense led by Darius Leonard is going to be even better than it was last year as well, and I fully expect Jonathan Taylor to pick up right where he left off, right behind that dominant offensive line. I do have them starting off 0-3 because they are dealt a tough hand at the start of the season. My reasoning for that is because I think it's going to take a few games for the Colts offense and Carson Wentz to get on the same page, but after that, it's going to be lights out for the rest of the year. I predict them to go on a massive tear for the rest of the season, including defeating the Buffalo Bills in a revenge regular season game, and their only other loss being to the Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Heading into the postseason on a 5-game win streak, I think that's going to bode very well for their playoff chances, and I think they're going to be just as hot as they were entering the playoffs last year. Except the difference is, I don't think any team is going to stop them as soon as they got stopped last year. I'm not sure how far they're going to make it, but I think they actually have a good shot at making it to the Super Bowl this year. I have extremely high expectations for the Colts this year because, like I said, I think they're one of the most well-rounded teams in the NFL, and I think they actually are a true Super Bowl contender heading into 2021. So that's what I think will happen in the AFC South in 2021. I'll throw out my predictions right here on screen. I think the Colts will take the division with the Titans trailing right behind. I think Trevor Lawrence will be a bright spot for a struggling Jaguars team, and as far as the Houston Texans go, well, I don't think they're getting out of the gutter anytime soon. So let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comments below. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you disagree with my predictions? Feel free to leave any thoughts you might have down in the comments. I always love to respond to you guys. You guys know that. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you did, please like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I would appreciate that. If you want to go over to Twitter, follow me over there. I would appreciate that as well. I'm a part of the Built-in Buffalo content creation team. If you enjoy Buffalo Bills content, be sure to follow and subscribe to them on any social medias that you may have. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.